Dolores.
Yes, and I have the report. I will send it to you after the meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I have a number of reports as well today.
Wonderful.
Sophia, I don't understand. Some people are
I
coming
saw
out
the
of that.
agenda and kind of gasped.
Oh, well, don't worry, it's not bad.
Okay.
Okay, while we're waiting for.
Thank you, Leslie.
Doug, come in. Dolores, you want to start and we'll just say who you are and who you're with, please?
Okay, I'm Dolores Loeb with Concord United Methodist Church, but I report for the Naval Weapons Station redevelopment.
And I'm Jan Warren with the Lafayette Christian Church. And Cindy, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
I'm Cindy Wu, Executive Director, LISC Bay Area.
And Leslie.
Hi, I'm Leslie Gleason with Trinity Center.
And Donna.
Donna Kalimba, Walnut Creek Task Force.
Bob.
Sorry, I had to unmute. I don't know. What am I, Leslie and Donna?
A community supporter.
Okay.
Oh, I like it,
Good.
yeah. Elizabeth, can you unmute and share?
Hi, Elizabeth Wampler. I'm the new housing director for the Bay Area LISC office.
Ooh, well,
Nice to meet
welcome.
you all.
Laura?
Hi, everyone. I'm a senior program officer for enterprise operations at LISC National. Quite a mouthful for a title. I spent the last almost 3 years now as a program officer in the Bay Area, and I led the faith-based development work, which I'm transitioning to Elizabeth and Cindy.
Well, super, super. Stephen, can you unmute and share? Unless you're Stefan.
No, I'm Stephen, and I work for the Fire Doll Foundation in Walnut Creek.
Heard the name. Great to have you.
Yep.
Joan, you want to say who you're with?
Hi, I'm Joan Liston, and I'm on the program committee for the CCEB, Contra Costa Catholic Charities of the East Bay. Oh, where am I? Catholic
Mark?
Charities of the East Bay. And a member of St. Perpetua.
Great, great. Mark, you want to share? You just muted yourself.
Yeah, sorry. I'm Mark McMahon. I'm with St. John Vianney Church in Walnut Creek.
Great. Morning, Sophia. That's your new spring haircut?
First priority, once I was fully vaccinated, there was no question about it.
Go girl.
Good morning, everybody. Reverend Sophia DeWitt, Program Director with East Bay Housing Organizations. Pronouns are she, her, and hers.
All righty. Boy, you did it all. Jasmine?
Jasmine Tarkov. I'm the co-convener of the Multi-Faith Action Coalition and a member of Temple Isaiah.
Doug?
Hi, I'm Doug Leach, member of Danville Congregational Church and steering committee chair of the Multi-Faith Action Coalition.
We all have a lot of long title things, don't we? Let's see, Joe.
Joe Kerner, St. Perpetua's, Winter Nights, and Social Justice Alliance.
And Christoph is on a call and will join us at 12:30, and y'all will help me through until he gets here. This came up for him quickly. Let me, this is a practice session for me since I have the opportunity thrown in here. Doug, if I just want to share a document that has something on it, hit share screen.
Yeah, you hit share screen, but then you have to do some other things too.
All right, I'm gonna hit share screen.
Share string, and then you'll be given some options. You have to select the application that you want to share, and then hit another button.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, here we go.
Hey, you did it.
Thank you. Okay, this is our meditation opening. The Sankofa is a metaphorical symbol used by the Akan people of Ghana, generally depicted as a bird with its head turned backward, taking an egg from its back. It expresses the importance of reaching back to knowledge gained in the past and bringing it into the present in order to make positive progress. Community is an elixir for the soul, and we need such good togetherness medicine more than ever. May we fearlessly and with gratitude receive what we've already been given. Thank you all for being here today. And I unshare somewhere. What do I do now, Doug? I stop a share. Boy, thank you for the practice. Okay, so minutes. Does anyone have any corrections from the March minutes that they want to bring forth? Otherwise, they will stand corrected. All righty. Let's see. Laura is going to want a screen share.
I got it. I have the power.
You have the power. All right. All right. Take it away.
Is it showing up for you all now?
Yes, it is. Perfect. Nice. Ooh.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Laurel. Hi, everyone. So nice to be here with you all today. As I said, my name is Cindy, and Laurel and Elizabeth are here from our team. A little bit about LISC Bay Area. We have a 40-year history in the Bay Area. We are a local site of a national organization. We're one of 37 sites. As Laurel said, she's transitioning away from being a team member on our Bay Area team. She works for National now. We're very proud of her. And Elizabeth has joined our team as the housing director. So we're in the midst of some transition. As a whole, LISC's mission is to help the development of community-centered agendas and then to drive investment toward those agendas. And then we'll go into the specific capacity building program with faith-based organizations today. Laurel, I'll pass it to you for a success story.
Sure thing. Let's see if I can get the slide to move. There we go. Before we go into the details of the program, I think it's helpful to illustrate it with some storytelling. So on the left, you see here, this is Billie J. Simmons. She is the wife of the pastor of Agnes Memorial Church of God in Christ in the Fruitvale neighborhood of Oakland. Her father-in-law started the church and passed it down from there. But she's been the primary kind of project manager and supporter of figuring out how to reposition some of the land. So you can see the church facade in this middle picture. Behind that, there's a plot of land that's maybe double the size of the sanctuary space that's just been empty for the last couple of years. And 12 years ago, they entered into a contract with related companies who are a for-profit affordable housing developer to develop the property into affordable housing for formerly homeless seniors. And they had a design for a 60-unit project. 12 years ago was the recession, and they were hit by, like so many of us were, had to change plans and pivot. And then kind of in the recovery, their project just was less of a priority for Related, honestly, and kind of fell by the wayside. Billie applied to the technical assistance program that we offered. We offered a series of public workshops in the summer of 2019, really introduction to affordable housing targeted at faith-based organizations and community-based organizations, but really focused on faith-led. And she joined the program, and over the course of being in the program, we got, with support from the development consultant that we worked with to support Billie, kind of like kicked Related's butt into gear is probably the best way to say it. And they, over the course of the year, they've secured entitlements, which is all the kind of business approval or building permits and approvals needed to move forward, and have increased their competitiveness for public financing and tax credit financing. And most importantly, renegotiated a more equitable and accountable memorandum of understanding with the developer. The original one didn't leave them with a lot of power in decision making, and we were able to support them to renegotiate that so they have more accountability, so that, you know, the developer can't wait another 10 years to make the project happen. And Billie was a really active participant in the program, and she has some quotes here that just kind of share kind of with the knowledge she gained and how that's empowered her to help the congregation and the church move forward with more autonomy and authority in the development process as well. So just wanted to give a quick summary. Cindy, I take it back to you.
Thanks, Laurel. So the high-level concept of the program is that we're putting together the fact that there's insufficient affordable housing in the Bay Area, and the cohorts thus far have all been in Alameda County due to the funding sources. There's insufficient affordable housing. There are land resources that faith-based organizations have, and faith-based organizations have a desire to do mission-oriented work. Also in the history of this program is that faith-based groups were very instrumental in Alameda County to advocate that after the win of the affordable housing bond, I believe it was Measure KK, that a significant portion or a meaningful portion was put toward capacity building. So even the fact that there are resources dedicated to capacity building is thanks to the faith community in Alameda County. And so LISC was chosen through an RFP process to deliver the program for Alameda County. We also brought in San Francisco Foundation. We can't take all of the credit for that either, and Capital One. So we pulled together a number of different funding sources to then put out this program. Next slide, please, Laurel. The heart of this program for us is really putting the faith-based organizations at the center. It's about self-determination for those organizations. Some further context around it is that we know people of color are being hardest hit by the housing crisis. We already knew this before COVID. COVID-19 is just making that harder for everyone in terms of job loss, inability to pay rent, all of it. And we know that faith leaders are on the front lines of providing services already for these communities. And there's a great quote here. I think we can probably share these slides with you after the presentation. So no need to fiercely take all the notes and you can go back and refer to it. There's a great quote here from our partner, Michelle at the San Francisco Foundation. Next slide, please, Laura. So again, let me reiterate, the goal is really to put faith-based and community-based organizations at the center of decision-making. We know that there's been a history, especially for Black churches, to be taken advantage of. And so we're really providing the capacity and the tools for churches to make decisions for themselves. How does the program work? So we have just finished our first cohort with Alameda County, and marketing or applications for the second cohort are open this week, so hot off the press. The first cohort was slightly delayed, or we needed to pivot as everyone did in the midst of COVID. So the idea is that a cohort, and the cohort was 10 organizations participating. A cohort goes through a series of trainings together to learn and also create a peer network amongst themselves. I think we did 1 or 2 in person, and then the rest were via webinar in 2020. The second aspect of it is that they are paired with a development coach. They get a number of hours of one-on-one technical assistance, because every group really is at a different place in the decision-making process and their own learning journey around affordable housing. So the development coach can really provide that targeted technical assistance that they need. And then the third component of the program is that we provide some grant resources. So on a reimbursement basis, some grant resources to pay for pre-development activities, and then also some grant resources for the organization to participate, given that many of their operating budgets are something like $100,000. So a stipend of something like $10,000 is significant to them. So I want to say again that we're telling you about the Alameda program today. All of this is flexible as we think about possible programs in other counties, but giving you the experience of what we've done so far. And I'll pivot to Laurel for the details.
Yeah, so this is just a quick overview of what some of the training curriculum covers. So it's everything from MOUs, memorandums of understanding, what they are, how to read them, how to evaluate them, building neighborhood support and planning for NIMBYism, because that can be a real barrier to getting projects done. And probably, honestly, even more so in Contra Costa than in Alameda County, depending on where in the county you are. Pre-development budgeting, which is really different from development budgeting. So really putting together what all the costs are and how you can find and weave together all of the different funding sources available to pay for those costs. Entitlements, which are building approvals or building permits and public approvals. Fair housing and public subsidies. A big consideration that's somewhat unique to faith-based development is really navigating like who can live in the property after it's built and how different funding sources put restrictions on who can actually live in the housing or not, and working through how to message with congregants about what the application process is to live in the building and who's eligible. So that can be really complicated and variable depending on design decisions, funding sources, et cetera. Relationship management with joint venture partners. That's one where the example of Agnes Memorial Church of God in Christ is a good example, because you can have, just developing a relationship with a developer is one thing, but managing that relationship over time so that is in service of all parties. Donna is a pro at this on the call. There's asset management, which is like the long-term stewardship of the property. You get the property developed. What are the next 50 years? And services management is a lot of housing for people with lower incomes and or specific populations that need on-site services. How do you plan for that? How do you evaluate different vendors? How do you support the residents that you're serving to thrive? So we provide a series of workshops with experts in the field to support these learnings. And we structure them in a way where there's a lot of applied learning. So you do a training and then you apply kind of what you've learned to your individual project. And like Cindy mentioned, the development coaches are probably the most critical piece of the whole program design, because it's really important to learn that foundational knowledge, but to apply it to the individual specificities of specific projects is really where you get from like a concept to an actual project in a lot of ways. So the important part of the funding for the program supports the time of development consultants who have experience in development, working with community partners, faith-based partners to kind of represent and steward the faith-based organizations through the program. And these are the development consultant coaches we worked with in the first program, Charmaine, Landis, and Kenneth. They're really great. And yeah, just a quick overview of some of the impact of the first cohort. It was pretty amazing to see, even through having to pivot to a more virtual environment in COVID-19, how much progress everyone was still able to make. And through the 10 organizations in the cohort, there's 300 units of new affordable housing in the pipeline. We supported 3 contracts being signed that represent the faith-based entities better in the deal. Sorry, I have the view in the way. There were a handful of the groups in the cohort came to the program they didn't know whether they didn't have a clear project in mind, and they had to kind of determine what the concept for the development could be and what the feasibility was. So 3 of those we helped kind of clarify what was possible and get them on the path to move forward. One small project has been in construction the last couple of months and is ready to be occupied with tenants in a couple of months, which is exciting. And one organization got through to releasing an RFP to potential development partners and is in the process of that. But a big thing, this kind of quote in the corner, I think is a big piece of it. All of the participants have reported greater confidence in their knowledge, their ability to communicate with developers, and a clear sense of the value of their land and the role in the partnership, which is that piece of self-determination is like having the knowledge and tools to make those decisions is I think the most critical part of the program. Oops. And this, I don't know, should I just read this quote maybe? This is a quote from one of the cohort participants, Carla Dardis. She's with the United Lutheran Church of Oakland. She's the council president there. But in her words, this program provides the critical level of support that our church needs to navigate the intricacies of affordable housing development in a manner that is thoughtful and strategic for the community we wish to serve. We hope to achieve the basics of planning and implementation that will allow the United Lutheran Church of Oakland to be on a strong footing to provide housing for senior citizens that represent the dignity, beauty, and convenience they deserve. Equally important is that our housing is embraced and supported by our surrounding community in East Oakland. One key learning in our process is that affordable housing production requires a partnership of expertise, vision, tenacity, and courage. Being in a cohort of committed organizations and technical assistance providers working on the same issues provides us with solidarity and models to emanate when the journey looks long and nearly insurmountable. So I just thought that was a nice, captures the spirit of the program. And this is just, our whole organization is invested in faith-based developments. Now I'm more at a national vantage point, and I'll let Cindy speak more to the local commitment, but you know, we have a network of capacity building programs with faith-based organizations around the country now. That's not on this slide, but yeah, we're working toward that at a national level too. But Cindy, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, so a little bit about our office is that we have been kind of rebuilding over the last 5 years. I just hit my 1-year anniversary. There's a number of staff at about a 1-year anniversary. Elizabeth just joined us last week. So we're at a place now where we're imagining what we're going to be doing for the next few years. So I want to reiterate our commitment to doing this work. We want to think about taking it regionally, which for us for now probably means 5 counties, Contra Costa, Alameda, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and San Francisco. Our other really big initiative right now is called the Partnership for the Bay's Future, and that's the geography that the partnership covers. But we really think this has, it has great, the program has amazing values in supporting those who are closest to the ground, supporting those that don't yet have access to affordable housing, the industrial complex of affordable housing, and really supporting people of color too. Is that our last slide, Laurel, or is there one more?
That's what I'm checking.
List as a whole.
Yeah, which do you want me to talk about?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so Cindy kind of touched on it, but we're a large community development financial institution, which is essentially a nonprofit financial institution. And we aggregate or pool public and private dollars, grants, loans, mix them all up, and distribute them to our network of local community-based partners to support and reinforce community-based leadership, and largely through a real estate development lens, but we do a lot more beyond that, supporting communities. We've done a lot of small business recovery or in relief through COVID. So fundraising for hundreds of millions of grant dollars from like big corporations like Verizon and PayPal and Walmart, and then making grants to small businesses to keep them afloat through the pandemic. We support a lot of early childhood education and care too. So at base, we're just, the structure is that we kind of pool money and resources and knowledge at the national level, and then kind of distribute that and at the local level. So that's what LISC does. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks, Laurel. I just want to give Elizabeth a chance to, I know it's her second week on the job, but Elizabeth actually brings some previous work in Contra Costa County. So Elizabeth, want to open it to you.
Cool, thank you. Let's see if I can see some more faces. There we go. Yeah, so recently I was at the San Francisco Foundation, and I was working on a project called the Great Communities Collaborative that works across the 9 counties with mostly local advocacy partners and community-based organizations doing organizing and policy work. But our goal in that has always been, in some form or another, to really build the capacity of groups on the ground to move towards having the built environment reflect the kind of equitable and sustainable development we want to see in the Bay. So I've done a lot of work with EBHO. I know about the Concord Naval Weapons Station. I feel like GCC, maybe before I started, was supporting some of the station area planning in Walnut Creek. So I have kind of bits and pieces of knowledge about what's going on in Contra Costa County, certainly not deeply comprehensive and like at an on the ground level, but just to share a little bit of that context about me.
Thanks, Elizabeth. So with that, we'll turn it back to you, Jen, and open to questions.
Myself. Here's your chance if you want to ask some questions. While you're listening to all this exciting, I can just say for myself, sitting here listening and being a lifetime member of faith congregations, that they need that help. Unless they happen to have several people in their congregation who have those connections, they don't know how to begin or how to put these things together or how to write the MOU so they have the full power to be a participant. So this is really a needed piece and very exciting. So, any specific questions?
Yeah, Cindy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was wondering if Cindy, could you share just a little bit about what it would take for to expand into Contra Costa County?
Yeah, so we are on the cusp of trying to figure that out. Thank you, Donna, for all the conversations we've had thus far. It would take a bit of fundraising. It's the combination of fundraising and program design. So there's a little bit of a chicken and egg. You probably pursue both at the same time. And first steps for us, probably we would just want to have more conversations like this, talk to a bunch of folks. Ronnie, you and EBHO are on our list. Talk to more folks in Contra Costa, feel out the lay of the land. It doesn't need to be a cohort of 10. It could be a much smaller cohort first, which feels much more achievable. The Alameda program is somewhere around $1 million for a cohort of 10. That's quite a significant raise. So I don't know, I'm confident that that doesn't need to be the goal. But then what is the program that we're going to design that's slightly different?
I think just to build on that too, fundraising is easier if we have a lot of faith-based organizations and community partners, you all who are excited about and supportive of the program. You know, we are here to serve the need in that way. And if we, funders are more interested in funding programs like this, where you can really clearly demonstrate that the ultimate clients that you're intending to serve they want it and are excited about it. So I think that's like the program design, a piece of the program design element too, is demand for the program.
Doug,
and Laurel brings up need, right? Of course, we want to be responding to need too. We're not trying to bring a program in search of problems, if you will.
Oh, there's need. Doug?
Yeah, I want to thank you all for the interesting presentation and for your interest in helping bring about more faith-based housing in Contra Costa County. That's something that we as the Multi-Faith Action Coalition have been advocating for some time. And so we're excited to look forward to your helping out in that regard. The way we got you on this agenda was Iman Novan reached out to us and said you were looking for making contacts, and so that's one thing we can offer Multi-Faith Action Coalition. We as an organization have no land whatsoever, and so we as an organization aren't going to be developing any housing, but we do have a contact list of members of people representing about 50 different faith organizations, and of course we're also closely connected with the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa, which has a larger list of 110 or so faith-based organizations. So that's the principal way I think we can help out, is if there's something that needs to be communicated to a diverse set of faith-based organizations in Contra Costa County, we can do some of that communicating. But one question I have is, if there is a particular faith-based organization that's interested in developing housing, when is the right time to get in touch with you? If you've gotten some funding and are ready to do some technical assistance in Contra Costa County, could it happen? Would it be productive to have a contact made kind of right at the start when they're just really thinking about it and have no plans whatsoever?
Is that a question for me, Cindy? I think so. Yeah, it is. So I would say 3 of the organizations we had in the first cohort, that's really where they were. The eligibility requirements we set for the program were site control. So the organization had to own the land and have the legal rights to develop on it. Some documented interest in exploring the possibility of affordable housing, signed by or of whatever the governance structure was. We had a couple not faith-based, community-based organizations in the first cohort per Alameda County's guidelines, and they had a board of directors. So board meeting minutes or a letter signed by whoever the land decision-making body needs to communicate that they're interested in exploring it. But yeah, that could be as basic as it is. And through the program, we can help identify what's possible, what kind of a project would serve the mission of the faith-based organization best, and the neighborhood, and all of that. So early on. And I think at this point with this, having a sense of specific organizations that are interested, even now, can be helpful in fundraising. Because that's a question funders ask sometimes do you have churches you're already working with, or do you have a list of churches who would be interested in the program? So I think, yeah, we would be happy to talk to anybody at any point to clarify.
Jasmine?
Thanks. So I had the privilege to meet Cindy and Elizabeth on Friday. So thank you so much. It's good to be with you again. And Laurel, it's really nice to meet you. I think something else that I wanted to add is that the Multi-Faith Action Coalition also has a faith leader advisory. That is a cohort of clergy, multi-faith clergy that come together probably sort of on a quarterly cadence. And we met as a clergy team. I'm one of the coordinators of that cohort. We met as a clergy team, I guess it's now maybe 3 weeks ago. Doug was present, Jan was present, and Donna, we mentioned it to Donna. And what we learned through that meeting is that there is a real appetite on the part of the clergy to pursue some sort of collective affordable housing build, especially in the realm of tiny homes. I had mentioned that to Cindy. The appeals of the tiny homes approach for that group was that it was quick to do, it was affordable to do, and we would be able to really have impact in a short amount of time on the crisis around homelessness in our county. So I just also want to put that bug in your ear that I think that there is right now momentum and energy with that clergy cohort. We are really interested in actually sort of actively looking for a site that we might be able to come together around to, quote unquote, adopt and drive a build around. And I think that there's, significant now energy on the part of the clergy to help drive both support for fundraising, but also drive volunteerism and all the other components to that. So just for what it's worth.
That's great. That's incredible to hear.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. If anybody has one. Any questions from people with churches that thinking about building affordable housing? Nothing from Dolores. Okay.
What we can do is follow up and send you all the PowerPoint and our contact information so that you have it, and we'll keep in touch.
Sounds wonderful.
Quick
Yep.
pitch. is on our website. You know, I never want to assume like what people's familiarity is with affordable housing or not, because it can be a pretty like opaque thing until you get into it. And we have some public training materials on our website that anyone can access if you want to get a like primer on affordable housing. So when we send the PowerPoint, we'll send that too, but I'll put the website in the chat too, so you guys can check it out.
And Jan, would you include when you send out minutes that they'll be presenting again on May 5th to the Walnut Creek Task Force? So if you want to pass this on, hey, I attended this presentation, you might be interested. They'll be presenting on May 5th.
May 2, right? 2 to 3:30?
2.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yes, you may.
So if you were going to coach us on thinking about readiness and, you know, motivating you to be more seriously considering Contra Costa, what I've understood from Donna is one element is definitely to show our capacity around fundraising and our ability to raise funds. And Cindy, I really appreciated that you sort of talked about the chicken and the egg. It's really hard to raise funds if you don't have a program, and it's really hard to develop a program if you don't have funds. But, you know, I think that this organization has a long history of fighting for affordable housing, for fighting to confront and end homelessness in the county. And so, you know, I think we have a story and a vision to tell. But I guess what I would ask of you is, can a next step be to hear from you very concretely? What does Contra Costa County need to do in order to really get LISC's serious attention? Because I think we're ready to mobilize, and we're wondering what you need from us in order to make us that select partner. Because I know you've got several other counties that are probably competing for this, and we want to be in the top, you know, pick if we can.
Laurel, I don't know if you have thoughts, or Elizabeth. Unfortunately, I think my answer is we'll have to get back to you.
Cindy, you gotta stop with that answer.
We just need to do some circling up as Elizabeth onboards. But this, like I said, these types of conversations, I think certainly help in the beginning.
Yeah, and Elizabeth has connections in Contra Costa County, so that should be a plus for us, right? Well, thank you all. Appreciate you so much for taking the time to share. And we will definitely, are, I mean, this is our bailiwick, you know, we care about this. We fight all the time to make it happen. So willing to help churches make this happen and give people homes that are affordable, because it gets harder every day. So appreciate your work all over the country, and congratulations to Laurel. We're going to move on here.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're going to move on to Leslie Gleason, our local Wonder Woman.
Hardly, but thank you. I remember LISC from way back when I was in Boston. It's great that that there's another connection here, and they seem like an awesome team, don't they? So great. On Trinity Center, we're doing well with the lengthening of the days and the warming up of the days. Things are getting better. On March 25th, and some of you may have heard this already, so I apologize if you were at the Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force, you've heard a lot of this because it's already happened. But on March 25th, so a couple of Wednesdays ago, Healthcare for the Homeless came, and 30 community members received the Johnson & Johnson 1-dose COVID vaccine here on site. So we're really happy about that. We only had a few negative reactions. And in all, it was a really great experience. They are awesome to work with. And in the bigger picture, as our county shifts to the orange team, we're able to have more and more people inside for meals or just resting and relaxing, and still keeping up all our COVID protocols so that everybody is safe. But we're definitely heading in the right direction. We're so grateful for everybody who's being vaccinated, so that that's going to keep us going in the forward direction. So we're still doing what we're doing, our meals, our basic services, and beyond those basic services, now that things are opening up a bit, we're able to do a bit more restoring of our educational and peer support programming. Our members have been involved in a writer's workshop using our large screen monitor in the day room with staff from Community Center for the Arts. And even though that official component has ended, there's such initiative and interest in continuing it that we're just going to kind of continue it on our own, and let people's creative voices and all of what they want to share from their experiences come out. It's really generating some very powerful work that actually we hope to share at our gala in June. So in addition to that, we're starting a workshop for people who need to know more about their cars, because as you might imagine, many of our members depend on their cars. So starting April 20th, in coordination with the Life Empowerment Group, we're going to have a basic automobile maintenance series of workshops that people will not only get to know basics about car maintenance, but they'll get some tools that will help them with that once they've finished. And as far as our substance abuse work, in addition to the one-on-one work that we've been able to even continue during COVID, now with things opening up a bit, we're able to return to our recovery-focused peer support groups so that people are able to support each other in that way. And that's really done some beautiful things already. And we're really glad that we can do that again. And finally, our young adult program is up to now about 40 people that we're serving both in the field and at the center, with a quarter of them over at DVC. And part of our partnership with DVC is that our young adult coordinator is teaching a 3-part employment and empowerment workshop series for their START program, which the START program is for former foster youth or people exiting the foster youth system. So it's a natural connection with many people who are unstably housed. So we're super psyched about that. It being April, we have now wrapped up another winter evening program shelter. This was the most unusual one ever. But like always, it was a team effort that would not have been possible without, number one, the members who made it all happen, who took such good care of each other and really watched out for each other during the worst of the winter months. The staff, of course, the military, who was a gracious host, and the city of Walnut Creek, who supports us in so many ways. And we had so many great donors who helped make delicious restaurant meals from the local businesses be part of our evening meal program. So our members got some really generous dinner treats. And overall, even though it was a shorter program and we had to decompress because of COVID, we were able to help 16 different individuals over the course of the season. Some were only in the program for the very last few nights of the program, and some had been in it from the very beginning. During that whole time, we were so proud. There were no COVID cases, yay. And everybody who wanted to be vaccinated was. So obviously we haven't done the full report yet because it just wrapped up last Friday. And by the way, on Friday, we were able to have this really wonderful celebration and commemoration to mark the completion of the program, where everybody got to talk about what it meant to them. And we got to hear just what the little things matter to people, you know, the smile and the tasty meal and knowing that somebody else was watching out for them. It was a great moment. Donna, I'm sure you'll remember how great those were. Last year, we didn't get to do it because of COVID, but this year we definitely did it and it was wonderful. And some of the positive things that people were able to share that they had accomplished or had come from the fact that they were stably sheltered in the program was some people were able to get residential treatment, get into residential treatment for substance abuse. A number were able to maintain or regain employment. One couple moved out of state to a lower cost area. I guess that's a success for them. And a couple of people were placed in Project Room Key, where, as we know, they'll get additional help now in getting rehoused through all the county programs. So overall, it was a really great year. We were really successful. And now it's time to go on planning for next year. We don't even get a moment's rest. So we are still looking for a way to offer the program more effectively and more cost effectively by partnering with faith communities who may be able to offer space for next year's program. And even sooner than that, for overnight safe parking. We really want to be able to re-up that now that a number of the members who had been in the evening program with cars, now, you know, we want to help them with something safe. So if you know any kind of place where we could do maybe even a pop-up safe parking program, please, please, please let me know so I can follow up with the appropriate leadership. So all in all, we're doing well. There's a lot going on, a lot more to be done. And thank you all. Any questions?
Okay. Well, thanks Leslie for making my stomach growl talking about all that food at lunchtime.
I know. And
I'm
that's really,
almost tasting it.
yeah, that's been really important to us from the beginning, is
Yeah.
to support local business and make sure
Yeah.
they're still around in the long run too. So the donors who were able to support those meals, it was a win-win-win. So
Win-win-win. That's what we like. Well, I'm going to skip over Jamie because I said I would include this with the agenda, and I didn't get it sent out. I will, and I'll share a few things if we have time. We're going to go to Evo with Ronnie. Did she leave? Or I did see her. She left. Oh, there she is. Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, good afternoon. So the update I have today is that EPHO has finalized our Affordable Housing Month events for May. The kickoff celebration is going to be on May 13th, and it's going to be online at 5:30 p.m. And it's going to include a special performance by Kev Choice. And the rest of our events are going to be a mix of, they're either going to be online or outside at a distance. So it'll be COVID safe. The one that I want to lift up, and I think will be most relevant for this group, is creating sanctuary, how to leverage faith community land for affordable homes. That one's going to be on May 20th at 5:30 p.m. And you can find out more about the events online at epho.org/events. And I'm putting that in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just excited to have a series of events to share with folks what's been on our minds in terms of affordable housing and how we see ourselves moving into the next year.
And did you want to mention your, what is it, portals, or you're having a new way of sharing information beyond just the big brochure you used to do or whatever? For people to access information or something. I just vaguely remember this. You're doing something different.
I think, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
That's okay.
Okay.
Because it's a brand new thing. So I think, Jan, what you probably mean is we used to do, and we have done for, I don't know, 20 plus years or something like that, our big affordable housing guidebook publication in paper form.
Right.
And since this is now our second year of being remote, and everything is digital, we're moving all of that content into the digital space and putting that up on our website in a new section that we're calling the study room.
That's the one.
So there will still be like stories of residents of affordable housing and property profiles of new properties and information on, what are the current AMI levels for, extremely low income and et cetera, and different topical articles, but they'll all be located on our website in the study room section. And folks can donate to sponsor both our Affordable Housing Month and our celebration kickoff event, and they can, or you can also donate to sponsor specifically our study room, to keep that resource new and renewed. Obviously, some of that information will be evergreen, like it won't need to be, up. I mean, it stays the same, but some of it will need to be updated on a regular basis. One of the things that'll be there in the study room is also a glossary of key land use and affordable housing terms. So if folks are new to this world and have no idea what land value recapture means, or by right zoning, or area median income, or some of those other fun terms, you can go to the glossary on our website and find out that information.
Very
And
nice.
we have tried to write it in a way that you don't need a PhD to understand what you're reading. So
Very helpful. Appreciate that.
but anyway, yeah. So we invite you to the Affordable Housing Month, the panel that Ronnie's really working on, and to check out our study room and all the other events that are on our event calendar on our website for the month of May.
Sounds exciting. Looking forward to it. Thank you for sharing. Any questions from anyone? All right, Carrie, sorry I didn't get your name. That obviously was a reuse agenda.
Well, that's okay. No worries. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all today. I just have some brief updates for everyone. Last week, our Housing Matters electronic newsletter was published. If there's anyone in this group that's not on that list, you can put your name and your email in the chat, and I'm happy to add you to that list. It highlights our obviously ongoing activities, but we always update our volunteer opportunities as well as our new furnishing list every month. So that's a different list, furnishings in particular, depending on what our needs are specifically for housing. So that is that. The other really great fun thing that our resident empowerment group is doing, and for those who don't know what our resident empowerment program is, it's a program that that is for residents. We have 5 residents that are part of this program right now. Basically shows them how to amplify their experiences to advocate for permanent affordable housing. And it's been growing. It's in its second, I want to say third year. Anyway, we're into the program now a bit, and they're doing a lot more policy work and really learning a lot about how to amplify their voices. And one of the things that they've been working on, and they just launched this last week, is their own rep Facebook page. So they can continue to raise awareness about homelessness and misconceptions around that, and elevate what they're doing from their perspective. And so in addition to the regular Hope Solutions page, the Resident Empowerment Program Facebook page will be working, they'll have a little bit of a different perspective, but they'll be working in tandem together. I'll put it in the chat when I'm done.
Thank you. I was just going to ask you to do that.
Yeah, so we're really excited that you're going to hear more about it. We had sort of a soft launch this last week, but there'll be more promotion around that, which is really exciting. And we had a really successful spring basket program. We had deliveries to over 105 families. So thank you to all the individuals and faith communities that participated in that this year. And last but not least, we continue to have really active conversations around the tiny home opportunities, and just to meet our strategic plan goal of building or buying up to 50 units by 2024. So we've had some really great conversations with community members, and happy to address any questions about that, but we're in exploratory phase right now. So that is all I have today. Happy to answer any other questions. Thank you.
You're looking at buying anything, and originally you were talking about buying homes and whatever. Are you looking at anything that would be possibly repurposed for housing?
I I guess I'm not quite sure.
Well, I mean, it's not, it could be commercial. It could be something other than formerly used for housing that might be converted. I mean, it's like the hotels were converted into housing.
Sure. I'm not quite sure what kind of outreach the task force is doing in that regard, but they've been
Okay.
certainly exploring, you know, working with Clayton Valley Press and actively. And the tiny home opportunity came up because we learned a lot more about the accessibility to provide that kind of housing and the costs, and that they meet HUD standards. And as long as they meet the goals and the guidelines of our mission to provide permanent supportive housing, it's really could possibly be a really good another opportunity for us as part of that. But in terms of repurposing, I mean, we're obviously looking at multi-units as well. Like, you know, Garden Park is sort of a standard, but we know that we can't replicate that everywhere. So as an offshoot of our multi-site housing, where we have, you know, 2 or 3 units here, several there, we're looking at, you know, purchasing, you know, multi-units that, but they're not going to be probably as big as Garden Park, where there's 27 units there.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Carrie? All righty. Let's see here. Hector's not here. He sure is really full of information. I didn't hear from him. Okay. I have a report from Home Match. They are starting to receive more home provider applications in Contra Costa County. They currently have 5 home share opportunities in the county. 3 more home visits are happening this week, trying to match people up. Anyone who lives or works or goes to school in Alameda County can apply, or you know someone who does, can apply to the Home Match Oakland program. And Covia and Front Porch, who I don't know, maybe some of y'all do, they've recently joined into one organization, and they're going to be sending out more information soon. So they're growing in more ways than one. So all good work. Joan, Catholic Charities.
Let's see, we had our meeting last week, and we reviewed actually our yearly goals, which was one of the things is to decide what's needed to value the effectiveness of the program. And what we found out from the planning officer is that each of the programs has their own evaluation tool. And so we talked about the fact that I had to, of course, add the Contra Costa County has a continuum of care model that takes you through the initial contact with people and refers immediately and provides emergency support, etc. You know, hopefully we'll see some of that same process going on that will happen throughout the Catholic Charities. I mean, so we looked at 2 reports of their programs, Housing Services and the Family Strengthening program. And what we also found out was at this point, the only action that's taken is crisis intervention. So in other words, the process of taking through an applicant to an outcome that brings them to some kind of permanent support or ongoing support has to be looked at and you know, and developed. So I have a feeling that's going to be our next program focus for the following year. And our next meeting is until June.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. Well, sometime you'll have to share when you get all your ducks in a row, share about one specific program. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Doug Leach said he has nothing on legislative stuff. I have that AB 71, Bring California Home, is having a hearing this week in the Assembly on the 19th. So, or maybe that's next week. What is today? Yeah. Anyway, soon, the 19th. So that's the only legislation. Anything else, Doug?
Gone.
He left. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, let's move on then. I have a report from Judy Stillman with Winter Nights. Everything's going well at Winter Nights. Bill had to adjust his staff schedules because one staff person has quit. That seems to be a problem that as the economy rebounds. I know the core team I was talking to Mike Callahan, and Oakland had snabbed a couple of their core workers. So that's, I guess, good for somebody. The staff is working on getting clients to a good place before the end of the season in June. The safe parking manager is doing a good job, and they are checking with the Church of the Nazarene pastor to see if the program could be extended an extra month, since they have it got started late and they have the funding. Kathleen reported they have the same 4 families, 6 adults and 5 children, and they had a wonderful Easter egg hunt, and all is going well there. But they may actually bring in 1 more family. Although the safe parking program had a slow start, they now have 8 regular participants, which is good news. And one couple found a space to park their RV, and they're currently using that as their housing. So she's helping, I guess Donna's helping them find a place to live while they're staying in their RV. So anyhow, everything's going well and moving along to the end of the program, I guess is in June. And I have a report from Habitat for Humanity. My gosh, look at all these reports. All I have to do is find it. Where's my Habitat report? Here it is. Throughout the month of June, women leaders and their teams and other like-hearted execs they're going to be having a limited capacity build at the new Habitat workshop, which is next to the Oakland Habitat Restore. So they're going to start finally putting together walls or whatever they do for the breaking ground at the Esperanza Plaza there by the BART in Pleasant Hill, which has been strung out forever. There will be 42 townhomes to house 1, 2, 3, and 4 bedrooms. And their affordability ownership program is for households earning between 30 and 120% of the area median income. And I've got to go look that up because unfortunately, because they ran into so many roadblocks that each time they ran into roadblocks, they seemed to have to cut more of the lower echelon because the cost and so forth went up. So I've got to see what that really means. I just looked this up. So anyhow, housing, and the Concord Naval Weapons Stations, 12,000 homes.
The Concord Naval Weapons Station, they are trying to get a new master developer, and they're starting on the process in April 16th. It's going to be a fast track. They hope to get interested parties, and they can come and ask questions, and they will start on April 16th, and they hope to have a master developer by September 23rd. And these companies can ask questions, and then they put forth their qualifications, and then the LRA or the city council will pick the ones whose qualifications most fit what they're looking for. And then they will interview them and then they'll winnow them down to maybe 2 or 3. And then they will go before the city council and the public and be questioned there. And then they'll start negotiating. And by September 23rd, they should have the final negotiations and have a new master developer. And in fact, they may have more than one because they are now looking at companies that have expertise in maybe commercial or in housing, and others that have expertise in planning. And sometimes those two want to get together. And if the city council okays it, it might be a go. I will say the city council has final say on anything that happens there. And one thing in this new plan is that they have a clause that the companies cannot accept contributions from anybody. They have to be completely independent from what the people that are interviewing them and everything, because that happened before and it didn't work out. And let's see, I think that's it. So
Any
we're looking
questions?
forward from April to May and June, and it'll go forth from there. And hopefully within 6 or 8 months, they should have a developer or 2 developers or whatever.
So if you have friends or anyone who lives in Concord, encourage them to participate in this process. It's expedited, and you never know with expedited we need some good questions.
There will be opportunities, I think, for the public. Certainly on that last meeting, there will be opportunities for the public to speak, but hopefully there'll be public meetings too. So
yeah, right. Well, we appreciate your years of interest and faithfulness. And I told Dolores I'm trying to drum up a couple of, I'm always looking for people in Concord for housing. We need more people. And I've got a couple of prospects. Thank you. Homeless, oh yes, ma'am, Joe. We'll give you time.
Okay. Yeah, Dolores, I was a little late coming to the meeting. Did you talk about your walk for winter nights?
Oh, yes. Yesterday, our church and Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Concord had a walk to raise money for winter nights.
Oh.
And it was to raise money for the food because they now have to have restaurant or catered meals.
Right.
And also for winter nights, if anybody just wanted to give to that program. So we had 2 walks, a mile and a 2-mile walk. And we had about, I think, 20 or 25 walkers. And we handed out information and had a good time. And
Did you walk
hopefully raise some money.
Did you walk in the neighborhood or downtown, or where'd you walk?
Walked in downtown. We started and began in Todos Santos Plaza. They started the walks there and they walked around the downtown area and then ended back in Todos Santos. So
well, maybe you started something new here.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
But this was supposed to, the crop walk. We used to do that all the time.
Right.
And that I don't think is going now. So we decided to do this. So
well, it was a beautiful day to be out and about for a good cause.
For a walk.
Thanks, Joe. Walnut Creek Homeless Task Force. We had a presentation last Wednesday from Deborah Sanderson, and she is from the Casita Coalition, and presented that Contra Costa has the only statewide registry for ADUs. And this org brings together all key players to remove policy barriers making a big impact through small homes. It's always nice to have these people that you can go to to find things. A couple of members of the task force gave a wonderful presentation, updates to the Walnut Creek City Council. I was able to sit in on that before I went to another meeting last week, and awesome and very, very important to be kept in front of the city council to let them know the work that the task force is doing. And I don't generally do this, and I realized I should be doing this to highlight the website. It's WC Homeless Task Force, .org, So really easy to remember, and really encourage people to go out there and look at it. If you want to attend a meeting and you don't know where to go, just go to the website, go to the calendar, you can get the link. They've got the core outreach 2019 summary information and the 2020 pit count, and they have lots of good information. And the senior high school young person who created the website is graduating this year. She's done such an awesome job. And so encourage more people to take advantage of the resources we have at our fingertips. And I just wanted to mention before we left, out of the wonderful information that you will receive from Jamie, that I thought some stats were interesting. That between 28 and 2019, the system performance measured that the majority of households, 87% were servicing adults. And so when we think about programs for housing our homeless, we need to, everybody loves families and the little kids and all, but we really need to remember that, and that's why the tiny home sort of program would be so wonderful, because most of them are single adults, and we're continuing to get increase in the 62 and older age group. And a third of the households are chronically homeless and may come in and out, but over a long period of time, there's that many involved in that. But there's some wonderful, it's very well set up. So be sure and look at it when I send it to you when I get off of here. Because it's they got pie charts and everything, and you can see now how important the prevention and services and the housing, that permanent housing is, and how important it is for continuing to keep people housed. Somebody waved a hand at me. Mark, did you, Joan?
I know we're going over, but I just have to put a plug in for St. Perpetua.
Okay,
we
good.
just finished up last week our 2 weeks of cooking for the Winter Nights program. And our food was prepared in our kitchen in our community center and brought over to the Orinda Community Church. So I think from what I heard, all went well.
Well, it sounds like you've got a commercial kitchen that people can rent out and fix food for winter nights.
Yes, it was beautiful. Actually, it was the first time I was involved with the dinner, which set off the first night, and it was I hope fully well received.
Well, great. Well, y'all keep doing all the good work you're doing. Appreciate it. Enjoy your spring, and thanks for. Oh, there's our Christoph. Did you get your call in okay, Christoph? Thanks for setting us up today. Thanks for joining us, Jasmine. And
Jan, before you leave, can I just ask you a few questions?
Everyone's free to leave but Christoph, is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I got the recording for you. So Joan, I'll send this over to you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
but there's lots in the chat and things that
thank
Jan
you.
reported that I didn't actually get totally.
I'll send you all the stuff I recorded on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, bye everybody.